Good morning, everyone. I'm Dewey, and my Tech Talk topic for today is a router journey from 802.11ac to Wi-Fi 6E. A year ago, I devoted part of a Tech Talk to problems with my then 4-year-old Linksys AC 1900 802.11ac dual band router at our place here at Silver Ridge in Mesa. With the help of a Linksys tech service guy and a firmware update, this $150 router came back to life, seemed to work pretty good. Last summer, back in Minnesota, I bought a new Grace Mondo Elite Internet radio, which allows me to listen to my favorite radio stations from Minnesota, Arizona, or wherever using the internet. It was only $139, and it worked well using our Wi-Fi at our Minnesota home. But when I set it up to use the Wi-Fi from my Linksys AC 1900 router here at Silver Ridge, this new internet radio constantly had problems. It frequently stopped playing and would need rebooting to work well again. I noticed that if I rebooted my Linksys router, the radio would work okay for a day or two and then revert to being troublesome. That was indeed a clue that maybe the router, my Linksys AC 1900, was the problem. After researching Wi-Fi 6 routers for our tin shack with lean-to here at Silver Ridge, I bought a TP-Link Archer AX3000 802.11ax type router. It was $122 with Amazon Prime. Installation was mostly straightforward, and I was super pleased that my Grace Internet radio was again working perfectly all the time, along with all my other connected devices. I said installation was mostly straightforward. Well, my only sticking point was which network encryption standard to use. I simply put off picking the standard until I'd found time to learn more about it. Didn't get around to it for a while. My answer came last week in the form of an article at howtogeek.com titled, "What's the best Wi-Fi encryption to use in 2022?" Writer Benj Edwards states flatly that as of February 2022, the best Wi-Fi security encryption standard is called Wi-Fi Protected Access version 3, or WPA3 for short. The Wi-Fi Alliance introduced it several years ago, and there are several versions. WPA3 is the most common. It's designed for individual and home Wi-Fi users. You're allowed to pick your own password, even if it isn't very secure. Other versions are designed for enterprise users. Since WPA encryption is still moderately new, you may have some older devices that don't support WPA3 encryption. If that's the case, you might consider using WPA2 instead. Though it's way less secure than WPA3, it's still better than earlier standards. Or if your older router doesn't have WPA3 encryption, it's a good reason to buy a new router. You also appreciate the faster speeds available with Wi-Fi 6, which is really the way to go. It just occurred to me that not long ago, I would refer to router standards as 802.11ac or 802.11ax. And now I'm talking about Wi-Fi 6 and even about Wi-Fi 6E. So what is going on? In an article at TheVerge.com several years ago, Jake Kastronakis explained that previously Wi-Fi generation were referred to by a weird naming scheme that required you to understand that 802.11ax was faster than 802.11ac, and 802.11ac was faster than 802.11n, and so forth. To fix that, several years ago, the Wi-Fi Alliance, golly, we're hearing about them again. Maybe that's a tech talk in the future. Anyway, several years back, the Wi-Fi Alliance decided to rename Wi-Fi generations with simple version numbers. Consequently, the then current 802.11ac turned into Wi-Fi 5, and 802.11ax became Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E. So what is Wi-Fi 6E? Depending on who's defining it, the E stands for expanded or extended or extend one and so forth. This diagram illustrates the basic difference between Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E. They're both sixth generation. Wi-Fi 6 is 2.4 and 5 gigahertz only. Wi-Fi 6E, even though it doesn't show it, is also 2.4 plus 5 gigahertz, but also includes an extension to the 6 gigahertz band. That is what is new with Wi-Fi 6E. To better understand Wi-Fi 6E, I found a very recent article at wired.com titled, "What is Wi-Fi 6E and Do I Need It?" Author Simon Hill notes that we collectively stream more movies and TV shows, play more online games, and make more video calls than ever before. All this activity puts a serious strain on our Wi-Fi networks. Now, Wi-Fi 6 gave us faster and more reliable access, and Wi-Fi 6E takes another giant step forward, especially regarding connectivity of multiple devices. Wi-Fi 6E is also a description for devices operating in the 6 gigahertz band, which is a new swath of unlicensed spectrum that just became recently available. It's now available in North and South America and nearly 60 other countries around the world. So it's quite widely accepted. Wi-Fi 6E extends the capacity, efficiency, coverage, and performance benefits of Wi-Fi 6 into the 6 gigahertz frequency band. Now, the slower 2.4 gigahertz band has only 11 channels, each just 20 megahertz wide. The 5 gigahertz band has 45 channels, 4 times as many, that can be fused to create 40 megahertz or 80 megahertz wide channels that can transmit much more data at once. Just remember, more bandwidth, more data. More bandwidth can hold more data. Wi-Fi 6E's 6 gigahertz band supports 60 channels, each of which can be up to 160 megahertz wide. Wow, that's not only more channels, but a humongous increase in bandwidth. After all this Wi-Fi 6 hype, I think I need to bring everyone back down to reality. A February 2nd article at cnet.com titled, "Wi-Fi 6E routers are here and we are not ready for them." This article should do the job. The article's author, Chris Monroe, tested 2 of the top Wi-Fi 6E routers currently available, the Netgear Nighthawk RAXE 500 left, which is generally considered very, very good, and also the Asus ROG Rapture GT-AXE 11000 on the right, which Monroe says looks like a cyborg arachnid sent from the future to kill Spider-Man. Thought that was humorous. He came away with the conclusion that there's little reason for anybody to splurge on one of these 6E routers at this time. The problem is that there are very few devices currently equipped to really take advantage of the 6 gigahertz band. So even if you own a Google 6 or Google 6 Pro or the Samsung S21 Ultra phones or a Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Extreme Gen 4 laptop, which are all able to use the 6 gigahertz band, you won't likely see performance anytime soon that's noticeably better than what you might see with the 5 gigahertz band right now. Monroe says that one could figure that the 5 gigahertz band would actually be preferable for most, if not all, of your regular network traffic. And his article produced charts to prove his point. That's not to say there aren't benefits with Wi-Fi 6E. The 6 gigahertz band hugely widens the bandwidth for many additional channels operating simultaneously. That's the multi-lane expressway analogy that will make Wi-Fi 6E ideal for stadiums, airports, or any place where large numbers of people are connecting simultaneously. In fact, and listen to this sentence, Monroe says perhaps the smartest move for most of us would be to buy a Wi-Fi 6E capable phone rather than a Wi-Fi 6E router. And those are really pricey. Well, that's my Tech Talk story for today. And I am sticking with it because I did a lot of research, learned a lot, and I hope you learned something too. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. And the good Lord willing, I'll be back, I believe, in 2 weeks with another Tech Talk.